So the big story this morning is the historic guilty verdicts in the trial of Derek Chauvin. Following this story from the beginning, as well as many similar cases, is journalist and host of daily digital show Roland Martin. Unfiltered is Roland Martin himself. Good morning, Roland. Thanks for being here with me. All right, we got to talk about this. I want you to really explain, as you have not only watched this play out, but all the other stories before it, how important and pivotal this moment is in history.
This is not justice, it's accountability. First of all, it's rare that we've actually seen a police officer go on trial, go the distance, and then the jury find that officer guilty. You think about in the last 5-10 years, you had Newman Raja, who was found guilty of killing Corey Jones in Florida. You have Michael Slager, mistrial in his case, who killed Walter Scott, a former North Charleston, South Carolina police officer, but he pleaded guilty to civil rights charges, 20 years in prison. You have Jason Van Dyke in Chicago, found guilty of killing Laquan McDonald. The fact that I can name just three speaks to the issue in terms of the number of people, first of all, who never even, who went to trial, but then let's not talk about the cops who never even got indicted. But the grand jury just simply said no charges whatsoever. The cop who killed Eric Garner, the cop who killed Rekia Boyd, where they threw it out because they said the Cook County State's attorney actually charged him with the wrong particular crime.
Roland, let me ask you, though,
accountability.
As folks talk about accountability and they watch this case play out, do you think it was the facts of the case that led to the guilty verdict, or was it the pressure, or a combination of both?
Oh, no, that wasn't a question of the pressure. Bottom line is this here. We've had other cases where there's been video, where there's been testimony. There was a case out of Connecticut where literally a black man had his hands up and was going down to the ground when the cop literally reared back and kicked him in the head, knocked him unconscious. Went to a trial, jury found the cop not guilty. I mean, it was clear, undeniable video. What you had here was a strong prosecution case. I need everybody to remember the Hennepin County District Attorney actually dropped one of the charges against Derek Chauvin. When Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, took it over, they reinstated one of those charges. This is why it matters. This is why black activists and others have been saying you got to have strong district attorneys who understand, who are there not to serve as defense attorneys for the police. Go back. People, everybody needs to go back and look at what happened, how the Hennepin County DA accepted the original police report in the case that we now know to be a lie. That's part of the issue. Same thing, the shooting in Chicago, the 13-year-old kid. The police report said something totally different than the body cam footage. This is why you got to change the laws that are so stacked in the favor of police. In Maryland, Betty, just 2 weeks ago, the Maryland legislature overrode the veto of the governor getting rid of the Maryland Bill of Rights for police officers. Governor Larry Hogan tweeting out his Derek Chauvin comments yesterday, he vetoed the bill.
Okay, so if there needs to be changes in the laws, is this just at the local level, or do we need a federal mandate? We heard the president say yesterday, we cannot stop here.
Well, remember, the federal action is very limited because Derek Chauvin was prosecuted by the state. So you have to have federal, state, and local changes. You must have local changes within police department when it comes to use of force. I have long contended that if a police officer lies on a police report, that officer should be fired. But you've also got to change the contracts. Samuel Singaway is reporting this morning. He covers these police abuse cases. Columbus has had 40 people shot by cops in the last 8 years. Most of those cops get their jobs back because of the arbitration negotiated in contracts. So
Roland, I got to get to one other question. Just in the interest of time, though, Maxine Waters made a number of comments urging protesters to stay in the street if the verdict was not a guilty one. The judge in the case said that could warrant an appeal in this case. Do you expect to see an appeal?
That judge is full of crap. First of all, Congresswoman Maxine Waters has the First Amendment right to speak. And how many other politicians out there were commenting on the case, including President Joe Biden? That's just nonsense for the cameras. Bottom line is that's not going to have any impact on the appeal at all.
But you do expect an appeal?
Of course. I mean, I don't think that his attorney is going to simply accept him going to jail potentially for 40 years. We'll know when he gets sentenced for 8 weeks. I also expect the other cops who are involved, they're supposed to go on trial in August, wouldn't be shocked if they plea bargain after they saw what happened to Derek Chauvin.
Interesting. All right, we'll continue to watch this. Thanks so much for your insight. We do appreciate it as always.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Good to see you, Roland.